So I had to kind of call an audible, as it were. This is technically not my film shot during the Oscars. It's a film shot over the course of a couple hours here at the break of dawn on a Saturday morning before the deadline. And as we watch the sunrise, I'll explain a little bit of why I chose to do this instead of the film that I did shoot during the Oscar telecast. Because I do have the footage for that, had the project going for a while, and something kind of changed in me. And so hopefully this will serve as a worthy enough replacement or substitute for the film that could have been. And it is not as cold as I thought it was going to be, but it's still pretty cold. And I have no idea what's in the bushes over there. Okay. Oh, shit. What? Oh. Thought that was dog shit for a second there. But no, it's old corn on the cob. Okay. Ow. So, yeah. The reason I'm doing this instead of submitting the actual film I shot on Sunday night. So I wanted to try something different this year. That was the intent, was to try something different. The past 2 years I've done this Oscar challenge. I've relied mainly on more documentary focused with, well, I guess some dramatized elements here or there in the first film, mixed in with actual kind of like just hands-on documentary. Cool, something's out there. Awesome. But I at first I wanted to try and see if there was something I could do maybe with more of a narrative, but still have a sense of autobiographical kind of personal quality to it, if that makes any sense. I mean, I know the films that I did put out the past 2 years, they do have a through line. They do have a narrative of some kind, but it's mainly just kind of spur of the moment, what was coming to mind, kind of like what this is at this point. And I did it. I wrote out a script. I had a voiceover that I was going to record the next day after the shooting that was going to kind of provide a little bit of storytelling over top of the imagery, over top of the story that I was filming. And so I did it for 3 hours straight. Shot around my apartment. Really kind of put myself in an uncomfortable headspace in order to, like, I don't know, try and act a little bit more. Went out and did stuff like this. Got out into nature and tried to make something of that. Even used this lantern. But I guess after I was done filming, I felt really good. Felt really confident in the stuff I had been able to capture, and was ready to go to work on it in the next couple of days for the Oscar submission. But what I realized was that as I was starting to edit stuff together, as I was starting to record some voiceover, and as I was very much discovering that I was putting a lot of myself into this piece and a lot of myself out there for people to kind of consume and view, that I didn't feel ready to share that. I've been candid about sharing whenever the world gets me down, or whenever I do have some issues that crop up with regards to my own mental and emotional well-being, kind of like this again, to some degree. But it's been pretty not surface level, but doesn't display extremely raw vulnerability most of the time. It's usually just about my initial kind of knee-jerk reactions to whenever tragedy in the world at large strikes, or whenever I just kind of am coping with something in the immediate moment and I need to process it a little bit. And thankfully, film is here to help me process it. But as I was editing together this piece, I realized that it wouldn't be sufficient to talk about something this deeply personal and something that affects me on an almost, well, on a daily basis, but on an almost minute by minute or second by second basis. The 3-hour shoot, it wouldn't be enough. It wasn't a matter of biting off more than I could chew. It's not that old adage. In fact, it felt more like I took a bite, I took a nibble, and realized that, I have an appetite for this that extends beyond the 3 hours that I'm filming here. That there's something here that I would want to dedicate a lot more time to fleshing out, a lot more time to getting just right, because this is such a personal statement. And it no longer became an issue of, I'm fearful about putting this vulnerability out there. I'm fearful about people, viewing this raw feeling from me for probably the first time ever. It became less about worrying about that or being fearful about that perception, and more about, no, I just want to put out the best possible version of this feeling out there. And as much as I love Sunday night kind of kicking me in the keister for it, I realized I need more time. I want to give myself more time to tell this story right. And I guess it just wasn't the right way to go for this particular challenge this year. It more had to do with, in the moment, realizing, you know what? This goes beyond the Oscars challenge. This goes beyond this little event for 3 hours for me. And I really want to turn it into something very, very special that, again, will require a lot more time outside of one evening, to give anyone who's out there watching the fullest expression, the fullest experience of that expression. I need to get a shot of this sunrise coming up, because this is beautiful. So, had a bit of a mini crisis there. Dropped the camera into the brush. Don't know if this goes without saying. Probably does go without saying. For all you hobbyist filmmakers or whatever out there, always have some lens wipes on hand just in case. Because, yeah, this was a dirty camera for a second there. But It's okay now. Yeah, so I guess it's kind of poetic to be out here amongst the husks of what was once nourishing and plentiful. Yep, that's probably very symbolic for a lot of the things that we put out there as filmmakers and creatives in general. Just these withered away, once fruitful things. And I mean, they served a purpose. They were fruitful, but also, in point of fact, quite a few husks on the ground here. What could have been. But that's not what's going to happen with my what once was Oscar project. I'm not going to let that become one of the discarded husks that I just do away with and forget about, because again, it's way too personal of an idea for me. It's just going to take a little bit more time to grow, a little bit more time for that crop to be plentiful, if you will. But for right now, I hope this is sufficient, that this is nourishing enough. And I know I'm bending the rules a little bit on this one, but I feel that's kind of at the crux of what Joel Haver challenged us with all the way back in 2022, all of 2 years ago, what he challenged us to kind of do. Whether it was during the Oscars telecast or whether it was at the crack of dawn randomly on your weekend, is to just try and make something creative and possible. I hope to God those weren't wolves just howling out there. Probably not. Maybe like coyotes or foxes or something. But this is, I don't know. This is definitely one of my go-to like inspirations, is just to find a new trail to walk, a new corner of nature that I haven't discovered yet, that can be seemingly kind of its own thing, separate from the usual city stuff you see me in. That it's okay to be able to just kind of get out here, get lost for a little bit, and let the ideas start flowing. I don't think I need the lantern anymore. But I genuinely would like to make a feature-length piece with a completely straightforward narrative and plot. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to try to work the former Oscars shoot into, is something with a bit more of a linear narrative structure. Something that can still break the fourth wall a little bit, but also can be a bit more separated from me without being separated from me, if that makes any sense. Like, the theme is still really important to me. The feeling of it is still important to me. The message of it is still important to me. But that's kind of what I'm currently wrestling with right now. Is when I first shot it, I was very much in this mindset of addressing the viewer a little bit more directly. Not in the sense that I was absolutely 100% talking to you like this and breaking the fourth wall, but more so that I wasn't a character, to say. I was still me. I was just kind of acting out and representing what the feeling that I was wanting to encapsulate in the piece was, what actions I usually take when I feel that way, and just trying to make it visually kind of what it's like in my head sometimes when I experience that feeling. And I just kind of realized, like, you know what, that might be, I'm not assigning a specification to what this feeling or what this mindset is, because, well, for starters, I want it to kind of be a surprise when I actually drop the actual film. But also, I just realized that's probably a bit of a heavy thing for an Oscars challenge. Like, I'm not to say like all the films have to be whimsical or lighthearted. There's certainly great whimsical and lighthearted films from the past couple of years' submissions. But there have also been these really great personal reflections and expressions on different ideas that have been offered up by many different people who have taken part in this challenge. It's just, I was kind of realizing as the week was going on and as I was putting together little bits one at a time, I'm like, man, this might be too much of a downer. More of a downer, not so much like a quiet, reflective contemplation that you can join me in. So that's another reason, I guess, I kind of tabled the idea. Was because, I don't know, if you're seeing this for the first time, hopefully on Joel's playlist, we'll see. But if you're seeing this for the first time, I want you to just take it easy with me, maybe. Relax. Get to know me a little bit more. Get to know my inner workings a little bit more without right away taking that deep dive into, oh, this is the deep existential crisis that drives him. Oh, so it's really beautiful out here. It's really, really beautiful out here. Had to break out the shades. The camera can stare into the sun for as long as it wants. Me, not so much. It's getting a little warmer, so that's good. I'm genuinely looking forward to watching as many of the submissions this year as I can. There's always a couple that if they do make a film, I always enjoy kind of partaking in. Dan Lotz's stuff from $5 Film School. Jennifer Bauman, who has become a great colleague, I guess, or contemporary to converse with on occasion and talk about like what really motivates us for filmmaking and for just art in general. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what she puts together this year. Daniel the Human was another participant last year who really blew me away with his piece. I think it's called I Used to Play Drums. And I have been following a lot of his other films that he's put together in the past year, other shorts, and I hope he made another one. And so maybe that's what I'll do this weekend, along with putting this together and hopefully getting it out there, is being able to support those folks that I really have taken a lot of inspiration and a lot of, whether they realize it or not, I've taken a lot of support from them. If not from their kind words or their feedback on things, then more so just the fact that they put stuff out there that gives me a little bit more drive and a little bit more of a feeling that some other folks out there get it. And some other people out there find the beauty in imagery in films kind of the way I do too. Oh, a cloud's about to pass over the sun, which is a shame, but it's a cool visual. Let's see if we can get a good angle of that. have to resort to my camera phone here, which is probably better quality image than my regular camera. But yeah, that one's battery's about to die. I thought I had it charged for this morning, but guess not. But yeah, do I have final thoughts at this point? Like I mentioned earlier, I'm looking forward to seeing the this year's entries. And once again, just want to thank all of the creative people that I've had the pleasure of witnessing their craft, but also being able to converse with them for whatever lengths about movies and film and imagery in general. It's truly been an inspiration for me. It's truly given me a great kind of outlet for my expression that I had before. Certainly, I've been making movies for years, you know, just my own little fun things here and there, but to be able to kind of use this as sort of my diary, my journal, my means of venting more than just putting creative, fun stuff out there, being able to put out a little bit of myself out there a little bit more so, and to just be candid and honest. And that was the thing, is that I could have easily just, throughout the week, put together a film and then said like, hey, this is my Oscar submission, but I decided, yeah, I want to be candid, I want to be honest, I want to tell you all that I didn't fail, but I recognized the scope of what I wanted to do extended far beyond what I set out for on Sunday night. And I want to be able to bring that to people in the best way possible. But again, maybe that is a failure to some degree. I don't know. Maybe what I mentioned earlier is true. The biting off more than you can chew. But I don't feel that like that. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I took on this task that I'll never be able to accomplish. No, I feel I'll be able to accomplish it. It's just, I want it to be just right. Because it's probably going to be the most honest and the most unfiltered that I've really ever been in any of these. And I owe it to anyone who watches to give it my all. And certainly what I shot many nights ago, it'll be in there because that was me giving my all at that time. But I want to give more. I feel like there is more I can give for that particular project. Just as I felt this is what I can give here for this year. Just a little peek behind the curtain. I know I've done it the past couple of years, but this time it's a step further to giving you more of an insight, not just into what goes into my creative process, but also what's kind of at the core of me. Because honestly, isn't that what this is all about? Getting to the core of ourselves to some degree? It's gonna be fun. And I'm looking forward to it.